Okay, let's have a look at these questions on Mathswatch because it does test your thinking skills. So, if you can remember my examples, a cubic function graph normally looks like that if it's got a positive x cubed term in it, and it's the opposite direction if it's a negative x cubed type function. So if it's a minus 3x cubed, etc. So C, you know that's a straight line graph. It should look like something like y equals mx plus c, correct? This u, you should know it's an x squared quadratic type. That's a type of quadratic as well. This you will learn later, it's an exponential. This, hopefully you know, is a negative quadratic. So once you can spot the others, you know D must be the cubic because it's that shape here. That will be the correct answer. Now, this one, match each of the equations with their corresponding graph. Well, we haven't done this yet. That's for later. I'm going to tell you that is B. That's a reciprocal type graph. So let's see. Can you see the highest power here, and it's positive, is the 2x squared? And you can see the minus 3. Well, that's got to be the y-intercept for this. So that has to be A. 2 is A. Now, can you see the highest power is 3 here, and it's a negative x cubed. So for my example before, that has to be D because of the shape of it. So A must go to E because that's a cubic as well. The highest power is a cube, so that makes that a cubic, and that one's done. Now, you should be good at that. That's the substitution, right? So if I give you this coordinate, 2, 8, is this a point that lies in the curve? Well, that's the x coordinate and y coordinate. Let's sub that in, or substitute that into y equals x cubed. Does it work? 1x equals 2 is y equals 8. So let's do 2 cubed. What does 2 cubed equal? 2 times 2 times 2. Remember that? The common mistake, people say it's 6. It's not 6. That's adding the two together. And so 8 equals 8. So this must line the curve. So minus 1 cubed. So when x equals minus 1, what's minus 1 cubed, guys? That is minus 1. So does y equal minus 1? Well, it doesn't because y equals 1 here. So that can't be right. So all you need to do is, and it does say points here, which is plural, so it's got to be 2 answers. So let's try y equals x cubed for 1/3. So y equals 1/3 cubed. Well, that is the same as 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3 3 times. It's called cubed because if you look at the volume of a cube, will be, that's cubed, you times all three numbers, but that actually equals 1 in 27, so that is wrong. So let's see, I know minus 2 cubed equals minus 8, so it can't be that one. So they've said points, but it can only be this one, because minus a half times minus a half times minus a half. So what you're doing here, guys, is letting x equal minus a half, cubing it. Does it equal this value here? Yes, so minus a half times minus a half times minus a half. Y does equal minus 1/8, which you can see. So this answer must be D. Okay, so this is just your substitution skills, guys. So let's just start with x equals 2. So y equals x cubed plus x squared minus 6x. So that's going to be y equals 2 cubed plus 2 squared minus 6 times 2. So work out each term by term. So that's 8 plus 4. What's 6 times 2? 12. So it's minus 12. And you should know that equals 0. So when x equals 1, I'm going to speed up here. Y equals 1 cubed plus 1 squared minus 6 times 1. That's going to be 1 plus 1 minus 6. Negative times a positive is a negative. So y equals minus 4. So let's do y equals minus 1, x equals minus 1 now. So it's minus 1 cubed plus minus 1 squared minus 6 times minus 1. So that's going to be y equals minus 1 plus 1 because you're squaring a negative. Now it says minus 6 times minus 1, but what's a negative times a negative? It's a positive. So that changes that to a plus 6. So minus 1 plus 1 is actually 0, and then plus 6, so y equals 6. 3 cubed now, so when x equals minus 3, minus 3 cubed is minus 27, plus x squared, so minus 3 plus minus 3 times minus 3 is 9, and minus 3 times minus 6 is 18, and that's what I mean by working out each term by each term. So y is going to be 0 here. Hence solve the equation when that equals 0. Well, can you notice that y has swapped with this 0? So when is y 0 here? Well, that's minus 3, minus 1. And they said to write in this format, so I'm going to follow that format. Well, not minus 1, I mean 0 and 2, and that should be the correct answer. Now this will be on a non-count, but it could be on a count paper, but it's not too difficult. They've given you the whole numbers. So let's try x equals 4 first. So you've got y equals a quarter times 4 cubed minus 4 squared plus 2, and x is 4 in this case. So what's 4 times 4 times 4? 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So a quarter times 64 minus 4 squared is 16 plus 2. So what's a quarter of 64? If you can't do that, just use your bus stop. That's 1, 4 goes into 6, remainder 2, 4 into 24 is 16. So you're going to get 16 minus 16 plus 2. Now you've got to remember that this bit is it's minus x squared, but x is 4, so the minus stays on the outside. That doesn't become minus 4 squared. That's the important tip you need to know for that. So that equals 2. Y equals 2 when x equals 4. So when x equals 1, well, that's going to be easy because you're going to get y equals, well, a quarter times 1 is a quarter, right? Because 1 cubed is 1. So you're going to get a quarter minus 1 plus 2. So you're going to get y equals, now what's this? You've got 2 quarters minus 1, right? Together. So what's 2 quarters minus 1? Equals 1 and 1 quarter, which you should know as 1.25. So that is 1.25. So am I going to run out of space? I'm going to use this space up here for this. So when x equals minus 1, y is going to be a quarter times minus 1 cubed, which is times minus 1. Now it's minus 1 squared plus 2, saying constant. I've never seen a question like this in an exam because normally they don't make it this difficult because lots of students will make mistakes on this. So this could appear on a calculator if it did appear. So quarter times minus 1 is minus a quarter. Now you've got minus 1 squared, which is plus 1, but you've still got the minus sign here. So you've got minus plus 1, which you know makes a minus, and then plus 2. So you've got y equals minus 1.25 plus 2, so y equals 0.75 here. And let's just do the last one, x equals minus 2. So y is going to equal minus 2 cubed is minus 8 times the quarter from before minus, what's minus 2 squared, guys? That's 4, so it's minus 4 plus 2. What's a quarter of minus 8? Well, that's got to be minus 2. That's what this becomes here. So it's minus 6 plus 2, so y equals minus 4. That's minus 4. And that will get you 2 marks. Never seen a question like this on the exam before, but this is good to push you, because if you can do these types of questions, you can answer any cubic graph. So it's guaranteed marks in your pocket. So it says, which of A, B or C is the correct curve for y for, well, what we've just substituted? Well, you've got these values here, so you just try to match it up. That's the easiest way. You've got 0, 2 here. That matches that. Well, 0, 2 is here, so it cannot be that graph. Okay? You've got 0, 2. That's perfect. Let's choose another point. What's the point 3 here? That's up there. Well, that looks nowhere near what y equals minus 0.25 as shown here, right? That coordinate is 3. So the only one we can look at it when x equals 3. Does that look about minus 0.25 for y? Yes, it does. So that answer is clearly A. So it says estimate, this question, the coordinates, the x coordinates of the turning points of the graph. And this is a graph here and it's shown. What are the turning points? Well, those are the same as the maximum or local maximum and minimum points. So what do you think that is? Just write that coordinate down. So I think that's each square is 0.2. So I think that's minus 1.8, and it says a comma between your answers, and x equals, now that is either 1.2 or 1.1. It's sort of halfway, but I think that is minus 1.2. I mean 1.2, x equals 1.2 there. Use the graph to find the solution. Well, I did say, if you remember, the solutions is the roots. That's extra information, so you've got to remember the terminology, because if you do not know what it's asking for, then you can't answer the question. So that means, can you see that 0 is where y is? So y equals 0 is this line here. So what's that coordinate? Minus 3. And that's a root as well, because cubics can have 3 roots, up to 3 roots. So that answer must be minus 3, 0, and 2. Those are the x values when y equals 0. Now, I hope that makes sense, and that's going to run you through the homework. This is more challenging than normal, but it's quite a high level skill. This would be a grade 6. In the past, this would have been grade 6 plus. I'll give this 5 plus to 6 now. Well done if you can do